Hi, I'm Mary from Seymour Library, and today I'm going to talk to you about The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. And as you can see, this book is massive. It's quite a tome. The book is about a little over 800 pages, medium font. It's about average font size. It's not like tiny print. But still, 800 pages is a lot. But that being said, I think that the book is well worth a read if you enjoy fantasy. So because this book is so massive, you do need to devote yourself to the book and to full immersion, because you're going to be introduced to a lot of characters, a lot of world building, and a lot of plot development. Especially in the first half of the book, it can be very slow going because you're going to be thrown at so many characters and really so much of the world. The book is structured, especially in that beginning, so that you're going to flip from the eastern part to the west. The east is mainly told through the narration of Tane, who is a young orphan girl. I think she's maybe around 18 or 19 at the beginning of the book, and she has just been selected to become part of the High Sea Guard. And essentially, the peers with her are split into two groups, and one goes more in the academic course, and the other becomes part of the High Sea Guard. And the High Sea Guard will train to work with dragons, with sea dragons. So Tane is actually very excited about that. And so when we follow the eastern path, a lot of it's going to be Tane and the people that she meets and her development on the east side. The west side mostly follows Iad, and Iad is an ordinary chamberer to Sabran the Ninth of Innis, and Sabran is essentially the queen of Innis, and so Iad would be considered like a lady in waiting for her. She will be her companion and do whatever she's requested of. You'll mostly follow the division between these two characters. There are two other narrators that will also get introduced. One is Lord Arteloth, or Loth, and Loth is a friend to Sabran. And in the beginning of the narrative, Arteloth is sent away by a Lord Satan who believes that Loth is too close to Sabran and it's affecting her ability to be wed. So Loth gets sent on some journey to do something. I don't remember exactly what, but he just essentially know that he gets sent away. And we will follow Loth's journey and what he goes through and the developments that happen with him through part of the narrative. And then the fourth main narrator is Niclaise, who is an anatomist and an alchemist. And Niclaise was banished from Sabran's kingdom quite a while ago, and he has just essentially been on a journey to discover the secret to eternal life. And so you will also follow his narration and the people that he meets and how that spins into the main narrative. And the two other areas, the north and the south, are also mentioned, but don't become a main part of the narrative until about halfway through the book. The south is mainly led by the Priory, so title of the book, The Priory of the Orange Tree, and they are an interesting organization that does allow for the use of magic. There's not an overwhelming amount of magic that is seen in the book, like just on a normal basis, I guess, throughout the book, but it is always there in the background, and most of that comes from the Priory. So to the north comes really the threat of the Nameless One, who has been locked away by Sabran's family for generations. And the Nameless One also has kind of a horde of darkness, I guess you would say. So like any fire dragons and stuff like that are from the Nameless One. They're kind of the dark threat. And so all these different sides and components are slowly introduced and laid out, especially throughout the first half. So you'll see the characters and their development and, how things are going. For example, really the main narrative will follow Iad and Sabran. And Sabran, as the queen, is getting a lot of pressure from the people to get married and have a baby, because she has to have a daughter in order to take over the queenship. And part of that has to do with the Nameless One, because the people from the West believe that as long as that family is having daughters and queens, that the Nameless One will stay locked away and cannot come back and wreak havoc over the land. So they really need Sabran to get married and have her daughter. So there's all this pressure coming from the people and the political leaders that want her to do that. But at the same time, she's also getting threats against her life from other people and organizations that believe that her rule is heretical and that their beliefs are heretical. So she has a lot going on in her life, and that really leads a lot of the events in the book to happen. It's all of these things getting uncovered, the motivations becoming uncovered, and so that whole first half of the book is a lot of this setup of that stuff, seeing some of these situations occur, some pieces of information getting thrown at you. But it's in the second half of the book that all these threads in the narrative start to become woven together. You will see the characters that have been separated coming together, sharing the information that they've gleaned, and now it's making sense as to what the real threat is and what they actually have to do. And so the rest of the book flows very quickly and easily, and you'll want to keep reading, and your pace of reading will pick up as it gets closer to that end, because you'll want to see what's happening. Like, suddenly it's all making sense and you want to see what happens to the characters and what's going to go forward. And that's essentially the book. I'm not going to give away the spoilers about what happens at the end, but it's very exciting to see all of these pieces come together and find out what happens to the characters. I will say what else I liked about this book is that it has a great cosmology story, so the whole creation of the current world that they're living in. We see throughout parts of it that the West, and the East, and the South have different pieces that they believe in and follow, but that there is actually an overarching story that ties them all together. But again, that's a piece that you have to pull together at the end. You're not going to get it right away. So you have to get those pieces throughout the first half and then see how it comes together and fits together at the end. And it's very satisfying how all of that works together. I would definitely recommend this book to fantasy fans. I think that you will enjoy this book. If you're not usually a fantasy reader, it might be a difficult read, only because there is so much world building and character development in that first half. But I think that if you do start to read it, you may find that you do like it and that you enjoy fantasy as well. So I would say to give The Priory of the Orange Tree a chance. I did quite enjoy it. That is it for this video, but I will be back with more book recommendations in the future. Bye!